Hey everybody, my name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons. I wanted to thank you for listening to this episode of The Morning Show. I'm the creator, the producer, and the host of the show. We want you to check out our website. It's themorningshowwithnatalie.com. You can go to that website. You can see all about our sponsors, all about the show. You can even listen to live episodes while they're going on right there from the website. Another way to listen to the show live is go to Live 365. You can download that app and just search for The Morning Show. It's right there. Super easy. We want you to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you will. That way you can keep up with what's going on the morning show. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. My name is Natalie Duncan-Emmons. You are listening to The Morning Show, and we have a very special Throwback Thursday edition. You know, we always throw it back on Thursdays, and we've been looking forward to this. We'd like to just bring you into something a little special today. We're delighted about this. My sister Nicole had the idea not long ago. You should highlight Mosie Lister. Mosie Lister was a singer, songwriter, and Baptist minister, and his songs have proven to span across the decades, reaching several generations and crossing genre lines. Mr. Lister passed away in 2015, but today we have someone with us who knew Mosie Lister as well as anyone did. As a matter of fact, all of the Booth brothers did. And we have one of the founding Booth brothers with us today, Mr. Ronnie Booth. Good morning, Ronnie.
Good morning. It's good to speak to you.
It's good. This is a delight. This has kind of been on my bucket list for a long time to have one of the Booths on the morning show. And when this came about, I thought, well, this is a great opportunity. I was just kind of looking for an excuse, to reach out to the Booths. And I thought this is a perfect chance because who knew Mr. Lister better than the Booth brothers?
Well, I tell you what, we had the privilege. I knew Mosie all the way back when I was a little boy, and I just remember those great songs. We would go over to he and his wife Wileen's home. They were always it was almost like a second father to me. Mm-hmm. And I learned so much working with that man, how to write a song. As a matter of fact, I've got a picture here in my office of he and I in his office down in Bradenton, Florida. And he was teaching me the song he had just written called Thank Him for the Miracles. And it just meant the world to me to be able to spend that much time with that man, with the knowledge that man had and the godly man that he was.
Absolutely. Well, here's what I know about Mr. Lister, and it's really not that much. I know he was a founding member of the Statesman Quartet. I know he wrote over 700 gospel songs, including Goodbye World, Goodbye, I've Been Changed, Where No One Stands Alone, Till the Storm Passes By, How Long Has It Been, and hundreds more. I know several legendary artists and groups have recorded those songs, such as Elvis Presley, George Beverly Shea, the Blackwood Brothers, Cathedrals, Loretta Lynn, Merle Haggard. Look, we could go on and on about that, but it spanned across gospel music. It reached out further than that. I mean, it's gone out to different genres, have been affected by Mosie Lister and his music. I know everyone loved him. I know Bill Gaither called him a true Christian gentleman, and that's really about all I know about Mosie Lister. So, but I tell you what, I know you knew him. You know a whole lot more than us. So I'm going to be quiet, Ronnie, and we're going to give you a few minutes to tell us about your friend Mosie Lister.
Well, it is always a privilege when I get to speak about Mosie because I had such great respect for the man. Mosie was from Eastman, Georgia, Cochran, Georgia area. And I think when he was 17, I believe he told me when he was 17 years old, he was working out in the field of his family's farm. And he was talking to the Lord. And he said, Lord, I want to write something that honors you and that is memorable. Mm-hmm. And there was a song by the Sons of the Pioneers, and I believe it was Wagon Wheels. And anyway, the harmony on that inspired him. And he began writing. For example, I can feel his hand in mine. That's all I need to know. Mosie wrote that as he was when he was in between piano tuning jobs. He used to, before he was able to make his living as a songwriter, Mosie tuned pianos around the Atlanta, Georgia area. He had a young family at the time, his wife Wileen and his two daughters. And he wrote his hand in mine in between tuning pianos in the front seat of his car.
Wow.
I mean, I can feel his hand in mine. Another one, and Elvis Presley, that was the title of Elvis's,
Mm.
I believe it was his first gospel music record. And then another one that Mosie had written around that same time or a little after was Where No One Stands Alone.
Yeah.
And I remember he told me, which Elvis Presley recorded, and I think Loretta Lynn and Merle Haggard did. Many major artists recorded that song. Mosie told me, he said, I had the first verse and the chorus fairly quickly. He said, but I could not for the life of me come up with something for the second verse. And he said, I had learned at that time, you don't want to force it.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, time went by, and he said, eventually, I just put it in my files and forgot about it. And he said, it was literally about a year later. He said that something sparked me to think about that song again. And he said, I started thinking about that. And he said, I told my wife, Wileen, he said, Wileen, I'm gonna go walk, I'm gonna go for a walk. So he literally walked around the block and he wrote the second verse, like a king I may live in a palace so tall. He wrote that verse and the song was completed.
Mm-hmm.
Another song that I'll give you a little story behind was, I believe it was the late 60s or early 70s. I think it was Sony Music contacted him to write a song about storms.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea, there was a movie to be made, and they had a particular scene in mind, and Mahalia Jackson was going to sing the song. So Mosie wrote Till the Storm Passes By.
Wow.
And as it turned out, my understanding is the movie was never made.
Oh,
so, and she never recorded the song. But practically every gospel group has sung. And you know what's interesting? Believe it or not, the Booth Brothers recorded almost 40 of Mosie's songs, and we have never sung Till the Storm Passes By.
Because I looked for it when I was preparing
Yes.
for this, because I really wanted to play the Booth Brothers singing, whatever songs we played today. I really wanted it to be from the Booth Brothers, and I got to looking and I said, I can't find them singing this song anywhere.
We talked about it numerous times, and it was one of those situations where Natalie was like, the same thing with Then I Met the Master. We didn't just want to walk in a studio and record it. We wanted the right arrangement.
Yeah.
And we waited several years before we recorded Then I Met the Master until we had met with Larry Goss, and Larry came up with the arrangement that we actually recorded. And we could never come up with the right arrangement that we were happy with Till the Storm Passes By. So we never did it. Yeah. We would rather not do it.
Sure.
Or do it, and you missed the mark.
Yeah. Well, that's what made the Booth Brothers such a classy act. You didn't do anything halfway. If you did it, it was going to be classy all the way. And, we respect that greatly.
Best we could.
Yeah. Can we play Till the Storm Passes By? That's an amazing story. I'm telling you, Mosie Lister, he ran with some big names. I mean, everybody, when you mentioned some of those names right there that was in that story, those were some dominant names in the music industry during that time, and he fit right in there with
absolutely
with that. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That's why they would call him.
Yeah, well, and rightfully so. That's where he belonged. I mean, when you write songs like this, who would not want to sing them? Who wouldn't want to? And they've stood the test of time. There's a lot of great writers out there that in their day they've got, but there's a time for it, and then people kind of forget about that and move on. But these songs and this writer I just believe they'll live forever. I just don't think they'll ever go away. And they won't, as long as we keep playing them and singing them and celebrating them. And that's what we're doing today. So we don't have the Booth Brothers singing Till the Storm Passes By, but we have a little group called the Gaithers. They're not the Booth Brothers, but they'll do when you can't get the Booth Brothers. So we're going to play the Gaithers.
Yeah, I think they're going to make it.
That's another one that stood the test of time so far. So far, they're hanging in there. So here's the Gaithers, Till the Storm Passes By Mosie Lister. We'll be right back with Ronnie Booth. Don't go anywhere.
This is a great Mosie Lister classic. It lives and it deserves to live. Listen. In the dark of the midnight have I all hid my face, while the storms howl above me, and there's no hiding place. Near the crash of the thunder, precious Lord, hear my cry, keep me safe till the storm passes by. Till the storm passes over, till the thunder sounds no more, till the clouds roll forever from the sky. Hold me fast, let me stand in the hollow of thy hand. Keep me safe till the storm passes by. How many times Satan whispered, there is no use to try, for there's no end of sorrow, there's no hope by and by. But I know thou art with me, and tomorrow I'll rise where the storms never darken the skies, till the storm passes over, till the thunder sounds no more, till the clouds roll forever from the sky. Hold me fast, let me stand in the hollow of thy hand. Keep me safe till the storm passes by.
Well, there's Till the Storm Passes By. I've been hearing that song. Well, I'm 44, and I've been hearing that song since I was old enough to just sit on the piano stool beside my mama, 2 or 3 years old. I remember my parents singing Till the Storm Passes By, and it's still incredibly special, Mr. Booth.
I love, love, love that song. And as like I said, it's hard to believe that the Booth Brothers actually never recorded that song. That perhaps Jim, Michael, and Buddy will eventually do that. But you know, when you're surrounded by those kind of, and Mosie was very intelligent. And I remember he would call us as he was arranging songs. And literally, he would ask us, he said, he said, bear with me. He said, I've got a thought in mind. He said, do you want, when you sing, I've got you singing a G, Ronnie. What vowel do you want to be saying when you sing that?
Mm.
What vowel? You know, is it an ah, or is it an I, or is it an E? And of course, I always told him, man, stay away from the E.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. On those high, yeah.
But
You know,
he
it
was,
matters.
that
It
was
makes a
Mosie.
difference. People don't realize that if you're not a singer, you don't realize things like that. But all of that can change everything, you know.
Well, that's the way opera was written, and I don't know if it still is, but I mean, the classic writers, they would always keep in mind what the singer was having to do.
Mhm.
And Mosie was very conscious of that. And he would, because he understood the voice and he understood what it took. so much that uh, there's a lot of writers that could really learn by studying Mosie Lister's material and how he arranged things and how he did things. He didn't just throw it together. There was so much thought. He went to after Elvis had recorded his material and Merle Haggard and practically every gospel group. Mosie went back to the University of Tampa. He lived down in Tampa, Florida, and he studied more music.
Mhm.
And he said, after I had studied all the classic and whatnot, he said, Ronnie, he said, I consider my simplest work to be my most profound work.
Wow.
And we got to talking about that. And I said, well, I said, Mosie, that's kind of like the gospel.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and you will be saved. Repent of your sins. There's something very profound in the simple. And Mosie tried to keep it that way.
Yeah.
And he accomplished much by doing it.
Mr. Booth, I want us to talk about the song I'm Feeling Fine. I know lots of gospel groups have recorded it, but it's super special to the Booth brothers because you guys turned around and did the follow-up to that, I'm Still Feeling Fine. Did Mosie Lister
ma'am.
write the follow-up, or did you guys write I'm Still Feeling Fine? I should have looked that up, but I didn't.
No. Mosie wrote the original, I'm Feeling Mighty Fine,
Uh-huh.
in 1952, I
Okay.
believe. And if I'm not mistaken, the story, if I remember him telling me this, he originally had the tempo, well, I woke up this morning feeling fine, but kind of laid back. Eva Mae Lefebvre was the first one he presented that song to, and she started out at Mach 10, da, 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 da. And that, ever since then, that is how that song has always been sung at a blazing tempo. And it worked. And that's the thing. Mosie said, if it works, it works. I'm not going to argue with it. Well, it was approximately 50 years later, he wrote Still Feeling Fine.
So he did
Which-
write both of them. Okay.
Oh, yes, he did write that. And that was in 2000 because he gave that to us. He had not written the music to it. If I remember, he wrote the melody line, but as far as what style it should be and all these different things, he didn't. He left that up to Michael and I.
Wow.
So we brought it to Nick Bruno, and we originally were going to take it in more of a direction of a song we actually later, a few years later, recorded called The River Keeps Rolling.
Mhm.
It was more of a drive-in country kind of a thing. Nick Bruno was the one who said, guys, what if we put a little Cajun feel to this? Da, 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 da,
Mhm.
and keep that same tempo, but give it that Cajun feel.
Yeah.
And buddy, it came together.
It sure did. Look, that intro can come on and it's unmistakable what song it is. And no matter what's going on, when you hear that song, you just feel better. You just want to smile. Your foot starts tapping. We still sing it at our church all the time. We just love it. And I don't know which one of these songs is my favorite. We still love Feeling Fine. Still Feeling Fine is just as good. So these are two amazing songs right here. And I did find the Booth brothers singing I'm Feeling Fine, the original. So can we play it? We ought to just play both of them back to back.
Natalie, let me tell you this too. It just dawned on me. One of the things that he passed away before he finished it, if I'm not mistaken. He was going to write one that we were going to record after he went home to be with the Lord, entitled Finally Feeling Great.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
And
but he
he
didn't finish
actually-
it.
I don't think so. I need to ask my brother Michael. Michael would know if he finished it or not, but he literally took that very serious. And we were going to record that after he went home to be with the Lord.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I thought that was a neat tidbit that
It is
your listeners might want to know.
Absolutely. And look, this is our show. We can do whatever we want to do with it. There's nobody telling us what to do. So I think we will. Let's just take a second. We're going to play I'm Feeling Fine. That's the original back from 1952. We're going to turn right around, play I'm Still Feeling Fine. Do you remember what year that came out, Ronnie? I didn't look it up. It doesn't matter.
Still Feeling Fine came out in first quarter of 2001.
All right. So look, a big difference here. Here they are back to back. Here's two songs talking about feeling good. Here they are.
Come on, guys, go! I woke up this morning feeling fine. Yeah, you gotta clap on this. I woke up with heaven on my mind. You got it. I woke up with joy in my soul, 'cause I knew my Lord had control. Well, I knew I was walking in the light, 'cause I'd been on my knees in the night, and I prayed till the Lord gave a sign, and now I'm feeling mighty fine. Oh, well, I'm feeling mighty fine, mighty fine. I've got heaven on my mind. Oh, you know I wanna go. I wanna go. Yes, I want to go where the milk and honey flow. There's a light that always shines down inside this heart of mine. I got heaven on my mind now, feeling mighty fine. Keep it up, guys. You're doing great now. I've been walking with Jesus all the time. We're walking and talking as we climb. We're traveling the road to the sky, where I know I'll live when I die. He's been telling me all about that land, and he tells me that everything is grand, and he says that a home will be mine, and now I'm feeling mighty fine. Oh, well, I'm feeling mighty fine, mighty fine. I've got heaven on my mind. Oh, I wanna go. Yes, I want to go where the milk and honey flow. There's a light that always shines down inside this heart of mine. I got heaven on my mind now, feeling mighty fine. Well, I'm feeling mighty fine. Yes, I'm feeling fine. Heaven on my mind, heaven on my mind. Don't you know? I wanna go. Yes, I wanna go. Milk and honey flow, milk and honey flow. There's a light that always shines, light that always shines in this heart of mine, in this heart of mine. I got a heaven on my mind, heaven on my mind, feeling mighty fine. Yes, I'm feeling fine. I got a heaven on my mind, heaven on my mind, feeling mighty fine. Yes, I'm feeling fine. Once upon a time I was feeling mighty fine, and I said it in a happy song. I said it 'cause I told just how I felt, and my friends started singing along. If you ask me if I'm still feeling fine right now, I can answer with an all-time yes. I can tell you how I feel, there's never any need to guess. Well, I'm still feeling fine after all this time. I'm feeling mighty fine today. Every day I'm climbing just a little bit higher, walking up the King's Highway. I still wanna go where the milk and honey flow, and I'm not gonna change my mind. Happy on the journey, and I'm still feeling mighty fine. Waking in the morning, thinking about the journey, going to the promised land. Thinking about the song we used to sing, and I'll sing them all over again. God has never changed, and the song remains, and heaven's still on my mind. I know where I'm going, and I'm still feeling mighty fine. Well, I'm still feeling fine after all this time. I'm feeling mighty fine today. Every day I'm climbing just a little bit higher, I'm walking up the King's Highway. I still wanna go where the milk and honey flow, and I'm not gonna change my mind. Happy on my journey and I'm still feeling mighty fine. I'm still feeling fine after all this time. I'm feeling mighty fine today. Every day I'm climbing just a little bit higher, walking up the King's Highway. I still wanna go where the milk and honey flow, and I'm not gonna change my mind. Happy on my journey and I'm still feeling mighty fine. Well, I'm still feeling fine after all this time. I'm feeling mighty fine today. Every day I'm climbing just a little bit higher, walking up the King's Highway. I still wanna go where the milk and honey flow, and I'm not gonna change my mind. Happy on my journey and I'm still feeling mighty fine. Oh, I still wanna go where the milk and honey flow, and I'm not gonna change my mind. Happy on my journey and I'm still feeling mighty fine. Still feeling fine. A little bit higher, walking up the King's Highway. I still wanna go where the milk and honey flow, and I'm not gonna change my mind. Happy on my journey and I'm still feeling mighty fine. Well, I'm still feeling fine after all this time. I'm feeling mighty fine today. Every day I'm climbing just a little bit higher, walking up the King's Highway. I still wanna go where the milk and honey flow, and I'm not gonna change my mind. Happy on my journey and I'm still feeling mighty fine. I still wanna go where the milk and honey flow, and I'm not gonna change my mind. Happy on my journey and I'm still feeling mighty fine. Still feeling fine.
Well, there's two back-to-back, two great Mosie Lister songs. Mr. Ronnie, we could never cover them all. There's too many, right?
Absolutely. In fact, there's songs that the world hasn't even heard yet. In fact, Michael actually just recorded one that we were going to record several years ago, and for whatever reason, we shelved it. It just didn't fit the tone of the album or whatever, but it's called Into My World.
Mhm.
And Mosie was inspired by a secular group from years ago. He listened to all kinds of music because he wanted to get different ideas.
Yeah.
And he heard it was actually the pop group the Eagles,
Mhm.
and he heard something that they had done, and it inspired him, and he wrote a beautiful song called Into My World. And Michael actually played me the cut of his, and man, it was gorgeous. And they're coming out with a new record here, and I think it's on there. I haven't talked to him and asked him, but there's so many of those songs that the world hasn't even heard yet. And I'm hoping that the boys continue recording them.
Ronnie, I may be stepping out of term here to say this because I don't know if this is true or not. But when I was mentioning to a couple of people about having you on the show to do this, somebody mentioned that your brother Michael was closely connected to Mosie Lister's family. Is that correct?
Oh yes, Michael. That was Mosie was Michael's father-in-law.
Okay, I did not know that until this week. That's a pretty big deal right there. Yeah.
What happened? What happened was Mosie's wife Wileen passed away, went home to be with the Lord, and Michael's mother-in-law Martha was single, and her husband he had passed away, and so little Cupid put them together. And they figured it out from there, and they were married. I forget how many years they were married, but when Mosie was getting very ill, Martha loved him and cared for him so well. And Mosie wrote quite a bit right up until he passed away. He stayed active. He was 93 or 94 when he passed away.
Wow, that's amazing. Can I ask one more question that's really going to show my ignorance because I have no idea what the answer to this is, but ever since I was a child, I've always wondered this. I always got the name Mosie Lister and Hovey Lister confused because they're so close. They're both Listers. They're both connected to the Statesman. Is there any connection between the two men as far as are they kin? Are they connected? Or is that coincidental?
Believe it or not, there's no relation.
No
Now,
relation.
you would think
Yeah.
that parents who would name Hobie and Mosie would would they would be of the same parent. There's no relation, and just dear friends.
And
That
Hobie
they
was
had.
the piano player, right? Hobie played the piano.
That's right.
Okay.
Hobie, he was the stage guy, man. He's the one that put the Statesmen together. And again, they were from Atlanta, Georgia, and Mosie was a Georgia boy, and so was Hobie. And originally, Mosie was the lead singer until they got Jake Hess, if I'm not mistaken. And
Hey,
mhm.
Mr. Booth, look, we should come back sometime and do a whole segment on the Statesman. That would be a whole lot
Oh
of
my
fun.
goodness.
Uh,
There's plenty to talk about. What a class act they were, and boy, they really were trailblazers. They influenced a guy you may have heard of. His name was Elvis Presley.
Absolutely. Look, and
And
I just went and
they
saw
and
the
James.
movie, and there's you can see that influence all throughout there, all throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, and James Blackwood and the Blackwood brothers all had huge influence on Elvis Presley. He used to go to Ellis Auditorium in Memphis. He and his mom and go see the Blackwoods and Statesmen. And in fact, there's one story that he was 14 and he used to see JD. JD was
Mhm.
always good with kids.
Mhm.
And he took Elvis didn't show up one month. And the following month they came back. That was back when they were doing it pretty consistently, several times a year. And he said, "Son, where were you?" And Elvis said, "I ain't got no money." And JD said, "You come anyway." He said, "You come see me and you come
Mm.
and I'll bring you in with me." Well, Elvis never forgot about that.
Wow.
And JD had no idea who Elvis Presley was going to turn into.
You never know who that person's going to end up being, so you better be
No,
kind to everybody.
that's
Well, look,
right.
let's down the road real soon. Let's get back together if you're willing, and let's do a whole show, maybe honoring the Statesmen and the Black. Let's just go back and honor some of those quartets from the past. If you're willing, down the road to help me with that, we'll do this again sometime.
Absolutely. That'd be my pleasure.
Be a whole lot of fun. Ronnie Booth, you've got a friend here on the morning show, and I sure do appreciate your time this morning talking about Mosie Lister.
Well, I'm honored to spend the time with you, Natalie. God bless you, and we'll do it again for sure.
Absolutely. We're going to go out this morning with another double take. We're going to start with the one that the Booths recorded back a few years ago. Then I Met the Master, and we're going to finish up with Happy Rhythm. So you're going to get two Booth brothers back to back, both Mosie Lister classics. Thank you, Mr. Booth.
Well, and we're grateful, and Natalie, thank you for everything you do for gospel music, and for the kingdom of God. That's the gospel set to the notes God made with the voices He made. It's all Him.
Ronnie Booth, you got a friend here on the morning show. Don't forget it.
God bless you.
Like a babe when it cries for its mother. Like a child, I was helpless, alone. Then I met the Master. Now I am one of His own. For all things were changed like a blind man who walks in the darkness. I had longed, I had searched for the light. Then I met the Master. Now I walk no more in the night. For all things were changed when he found me. A new day broke through all around me. For I met the Master. Now I belong to him. I met the Master. Now I belong to him. For all things were changed when he found me. A new day broke through all around me. For I met the Master, the Master. Now I belong to him. I met the Master. Now I belong to him. I met the Master. Now I belong to Happy rhythm, happy rhythm. We're talking about happy rhythm, keeps a rocking and a rolling. I can feel it moving while I sing this song. Brother, let me tell you how I feel. Tell you about a feeling that is real. Brother, let me tell you how the glory rolls. Tell you how it bubbles in my happy soul. Happiness is free, it's never bought or sold. Let me tell you how I feel, let me tell you. There's a happy rhythm, keeps a rocking and a rolling. I can feel it moving while I sing this song. What a thrill to feel it moving on and never stopping. Deep within my heart it keeps a rolling and a rocking. Rolling and a rocking and a rocking and a rolling. It's a happy rhythm in my soul. A wonderful happy, happy rhythm. There's music ringing deep within my soul. I can feel it bubble, I can feel it roll. Then I get the feeling that I wanna shout. Makes me feel so good, I gotta move about. Brother, there can never be a single doubt. I can feel it, I can feel happy rhythm. There's a happy rhythm keeps a rocking and a rolling. I can feel it moving while I sing this song. What a thrill to feel it moving on and never stopping. Deep within my heart it keeps a rolling and a rocking. Rolling and a rocking and a rocking and a rolling. It's a happy rhythm in my soul. A wonderful happy, happy rhythm. Brother, let me tell you how the glory rolls in me. Tell you how it bubbles in my happy soul. Rolling and a rocking, it's a rocking and a rolling, always rolling.